We have 28 people waiting. Wow, cool.
We are now live.
Awesome. Let me kill this. Are we live?
Yes, we're live.
Okay. I'm just waiting for this thing to update on my end.
Like a 20-second lag, I think.
Okay. Let's see. Yes, perfect. Okay. So let me hit play on the recording because I was waiting. Okay, awesome. So those of you that are not muted on the panelist side, I'm going to ask you if you can quickly mute, and then we're going to get started. All right. Well, welcome back again to the pre-Autodesk University event, the Forge Hackathon, taking place from November the 9th to the 13th. We are very excited to get to see the demos and this second time slot dedicated to the Americas time zone. We had really cool ones on the first time slot dedicated to Europe and APAC region. So definitely it's something that we're looking forward to it. Now I did add one of these ones. So a little bit about myself. So my name is Jaime Rosales. I'm a senior developer advocate for the advocacy and support team, like developer advocacy and support team at Autodesk. I've been part of Autodesk close to 9 years. Actually, like in 3 weeks, it's going to be 9 years. And I came to Autodesk through the acquisition of the BIM 360 Glue product. I was part of the core engineering team, developing some of the plugins in there for the Revit, AutoCAD, and Navisworks functionality to connect to that collaboration tool based on the cloud. And I joined the Autodesk Developer Network team back in 2014. And since then, I've been involved with basically advocating for the Forge platform before actually it was called Forge. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself. We had some signups from different parts of the world. We got quite a lot of traffic from the European region, and then some of them also. I think we have someone online right now that it's quite late for him. I didn't know that he was in that location, but happy to have you here. And then we're going to get started with that demo shortly. So being a virtual event, this allowed us to have people from different regions of the world, and then just being based at home, they can dedicate some time to code some of those amazing projects that we're going to get to see shortly. So meet some of our judges. We have 5 judges for this hackathon. I think some of them are online. Let me see. I see Chris. Yeah. Can you give a little intro about yourself, Chris?
Yeah, hi. My name's Chris Morse. I am a lead developer, XR developer at Assembly OSM. Assembly OSM is a pretty new company that focuses on offsite manufacturing for architecture and construction. I'm also a visiting lecturer at Cornell Department of Architecture, and I was previously at Shop Architects working on the interactive visualization team there.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. I think we have Adam as well.
Hey, everyone. My name is Adam. I'm the director of interactive visualization at Shop Architects. And so our team has a really fun job of really doing research and development to build new tools to address industry problems, kind of from a bunch of different vantage points from the client side, but also from the general contractor side, and trying to create new ways to communicate with different stakeholders. So we have a lot of fun building software with a bunch of different tools, and we use Forge to do that some of the time. So glad to be here and excited to see people's projects.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. Do we have Fernando by any chance?
Yes.
Hi.
So my name is Fernando Mahler. I'm Autodesk CTO. I work with Autodesk software for more than 25 years. Our company is specialized on plugins for AutoCAD, Revit, and we started working with a Forge platform even before it's called Forge. So it's a while ago. And we are really excited to see what developers are doing with the latest version of Forge APIs.
Awesome. Thank you, Fernando. Stuart, are you around? I don't think he is. So they're based in Europe. Same with Jacqueline. And I think Jacqueline also said that she might not be able to join this one, but we'll catch up with the projects later on today and tomorrow. Okay, so thank you guys. Let me move forward to this. So we had some, I have some stats for you guys in regards to the use of Slack and also the hackathon in general during the past week. So we had around 113 members. That includes also Autodesk people in that 113 members. We saw around over 1,500 messages on the first 2 days. 30% of those messages happen in public channels that we have dedicated to specific technologies in regards to the use of the platform, like the Forge Viewer, the design automation, webhooks, model derivative, and so on. We did see also some 20% of those communications happen in private channels. So each team of the hackathon had their own private channel in order to discuss their development together with the Autodesk people that were involved in that team. At the same time, also, we saw 50% of those messages happen through direct messages. So there was a lot of communication going on between teams and just like Autodesk engineers in general, with a more like personal touch and direct contact through those direct messages. In regards to the hackathon stats, we had pre-recorded lighting talks that were hosted on the Slack workspace with 22 talks that basically touch points into different uses of the platform that have been produced by many of our developer advocates in the past. So in that way, to just give some sort of idea and give them pointers to the attendants of how they can use the platform in order to achieve some of the demos that we're going to get to see today. We had over 50 plus different Autodesk engineers from engineering team from specific services from the Forge platform, project managers, documentation team, the developer advocates helping out during the span of the event. Based that we have those advocates around the world, myself included, we are able to give you a 24/5 support. So what that means is that if anyone was staying late, let's say to do some coding and all that, there was always someone present in order to get you some help, and then just give you a call to do a one-on-one call in order to just help you out with the problems that you were having, or just give you some pointers on how to advance your project. So some people were staying late. Renzo, Albin, Avshiak were some of those. They were staying late. And I think I should also add Eric, because he's on the call right now. And I think it's like 3 a.m. for him. So we're going to get to you really quick. And then also Jonathan was one of those most actives during the week, with a lot of direct messaging and interactions within the different channels that we had for the platform itself. So what is expected in regards to the demo day? So there were 5 challenges: the best data visualization application, the most innovative digital twin application, the best workflow automation, the think outside of the box with a BIM application, and the best 3D game application. And at the same time also, the winner of one of these has a chance to compete for the overall prize. So basically the best of the best for the Forge Hackathon 2020. We will hear from our participants what they have been able to accomplish, what they like and dislike about the hackathon format, and what can we do better. And let me just like reinforce a bit on that. We take this very seriously, so definitely let us know how can we make this kind of events better. We would love to meet you in person in order to basically sit down with you and develop some code, but due to the circumstances at this moment, we just got to keep it in a virtual way. So definitely that feedback can help us out to make the event better. And don't worry about it. We have tough skin, so don't worry. We can take it. And then later on, we're going to get a quick demo of your application. Okay? So before we move forward, just a mention on some of those prices, and something to just think about here is that the limit of people involved in a team was 4 people. So let's say if one of those 4 people wins, one of the challenges that will get, let's say, the Oculus Quest 2, don't worry about it. We have one for each team member. So you're not going to have to share one Oculus Quest 2 or anything like that. Each one of you will get one of those. Okay. And as I told you before, we have 6 different prizes because we have an overall winner of the hackathon in general. So before we move into the first presentation, Jim, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, so Jim Quancy, Senior Director, Developer Advocacy and Support. Jaime and many of the engineers you've been working with this week work on my team. I want to thank all of you. Hackathons in the pre-COVID days, run on weekends where you could really focus. Clearly, all of us working from home, it is much harder to focus. And when you're using new technology, you kind of need to focus in for hours on end. So I really appreciate your all working through it. I'd also like to express to anybody who's watching, maybe you're on the live stream, I hope what you take from this is what's possible to do in just a week. Climbing a learning curve, building an application that helps people save money, make better decisions, save time, take clunky work processes and make them simple. I hope this inspires you to try it, because a lot of us grew up in a time of heavy client apps, client server systems, where developing apps was something that took a team of people and months and months and months. But this is a web world, a cloud world, and you can do, whether it's an individual or a few people working together, you can, from almost ground zero, do a lot in just a week. And yeah, back to you, Jaime.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim. All right, so we are gonna get started. So let me just try to find my mouse again. And Eric, can you raise your hand so that way I can bring you as a panelist? That assuming you didn't fall asleep. All right, there you are. Okay, let me stop the sharing. Hi, Eric. You can unmute now.
And start video. Here I am. Oh, look at that. Look like I'm on a tropical beach. Almost like real life.
Awesome. Okay.
I am going to share my screen, which is this one. Share. Can you see that? See Revit there?
Yes. So take it away.
Here is a commercial electrical project, and these people are breaking up their installation into prefab assemblies. In Revit, these assemblies are being defined as Revit assemblies for real-life assemblies. And the problem is how to track these through their life, from being built to being delivered to being in progress and being installed. In Revit, I've added a parameter called status, and it can be one of these 4 choices. And in this view, there's some filters on it to change the color so we can see what the status are of those Revit assemblies. Now, how can somebody who doesn't have Revit get involved with this, reporting what is the status of these assemblies as it goes into construction? We come into Forge. And here is that same project in Forge in a custom web viewer. Looks familiar. And this is slightly modified from the sample where assembly name is here, so we can find that. But more importantly is the status. So these are the status settings of those parameters on those assemblies. So we can see here, I just click that and it can see which assemblies are already installed, delivered, prefabbed, and in progress. And of course, we have here where we can go and find just the assembly by itself. Now there's more. Hit the reset here. Down lower on this page, we have our database, which in this case is Google Spreadsheet. And the people who are involved in the construction and the making of assemblies can set these cells in the spreadsheet to tell where the assemblies are in real life. There's also a graph here coming out of the spreadsheet to show some data visualization. How that information gets back into Revit currently is going to the spreadsheet by itself and download CSV. There's also one more feature here. Because this is web, you can have links to other web pages. Come on. To whatever that might be. In this case, it's a WordPress site that has information about the assembly. Also that same database, which is the spreadsheet, and images, PDF, whatever else we want to put on those separate web pages. Back into Revit, using Dynamo, reading in that CSV, doing some list manipulation, and setting the parameter on the assembly and all the assembly's members. There's that parameter status. And I'll just change something in here so you can see it work. This assembly, I change it to something else, and you see the color change. And I run this, and it goes through and manipulates all the parameters from the data from the spreadsheet. And there it is. We're using Revit, Dynamo, Forge, Google Sheets, and general web tricks to get at the goal of managing all these assemblies in these giant commercial electrical projects. That's the presentation.
Eric, this is Jared also. And one of the advantages to this is, along with the BIM side of it, it's also used for project tracking on the project management side, job tracking throughout the entire project. It's just, it streamlines the whole process from office, the BIM team, field personnel, and operations, which is a pretty difficult loop, to complete the whole process. So this would definitely fill that gap.
Eric, could you possibly just run through that last part again where you made a data change and then follow the pipeline through, please?
Okay, the external database is a Google sheet, and the way I'm getting the data, if something changes here, the way I'm getting the data back into Revit is File, Download, CSV. And then with Dynamo, here's the downloaded CSV, and it's importing it and just getting the getting the data out of that and setting the parameters in the project. And then you would save the Revit, upload it back to BIM 360 and reload.
Got it.
After all the changes are made in the statuses.
Yeah, Jim Quancy here. I love it. You know, the Google Sheet, Dynamo, it's simple, elegant, flexible. Anybody can pull their phone out and update the Google Sheet. It's wow.
Yes, it seems to get it done, even though it's not very complicated.
Yeah, it's kind of using high tech in a low tech way.
Yes.
And another thing that is really cool about it is it opens up the capability for QR code scanning throughout the process in the prefab shop, you know, delivered on site and actually installed, which would automate that even more using that CSV and certain user groups inside of that CSV, which would track where its location is.
Awesome. Yeah, this is pretty cool. A lot of combination of technology. So yeah, great job. Do we have any questions from the judges? All right.
I guess it was pretty clear.
Yeah. To the point. Love it.
No, I want to just second the comment that, you know, combining the different, you know, there's no reason necessarily to go crazy and try to develop all this brand new stuff when Google Sheets works. If you can just connect the tools that people know and people have and make it work for them, I think that's great.
Awesome. Cool. All right. If we don't have any more questions for them.
I got one quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, just a question, I guess, for Eric. So you decided to use Dynamo as one of the tools to import data into Revit. Did you consider a Revit plugin, or that was just overly complex and not worth it? What's the thinking there? And also,
like anything.
Yeah, sorry. And also a second question: what would you do next?
Like anything, you can get as complicated as you want, but you saw how simple that Dynamo script. That's almost nothing there. This is a very simple thing. It could be made into an add-in, but why bother? This already works, and easy to edit if something changes. One improvement might be, instead of going from a download CSV, is to read directly from the JSON in a Google Sheet, which is possible. I just didn't want to do that today.
No, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, Mike, I sit here and go, hey, yeah, I could spend a few days hacking around with .NET and Visual Studio, but if I know Dynamo, I can do this in 20 minutes. It's like, why not do that?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, good job, guys. All right. If we don't have any more questions for them, we just give them a quick round of applause.
Thanks, guys.
Good job, guys. All right, so let me send you guys back. All right. So next up, we have the next team has a really unique name. It's called Don't Catch Me If You Can. It's a COVID-19 game simulator application. So can the presenters raise a hand? Ooh, 4 of them. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going one by one.
I can already see the logo for this.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about the prior demo. You know, if we get Dynamo on the cloud, you could automate the whole thing like you're thinking, Michael, but without the complexity of dealing with .NET and Revit plugins.
Make it happen, Jim. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Ryan, Omar, Mitali, and Vinu. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh my God, that's a way better logo than I thought. That's way better.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute myself and then take it away.
Okay. So we are a team from Advanced Real-Time Simulation Lab, Carleton University. And for this Forge Hackathon, we decided to build a COVID game simulator called Don't Catch Me If You Can. So I'd like to introduce our team members. I'm Vinu. I'm an architect by background, but also a postdoctoral fellow at Carleton University. I have interdisciplinary experience with user interaction design and building simulation at the back end as well as BIM. So I kind of play the connector role between the different groups.
Hello all, I am Mitali Patel. I am the grad student studying Master of Applied Science in Carleton University and also software engineer as a background.
Hey everyone, I'm Omar. I'm a third year computer science and GIS combined major student, and I'm interning at Carleton University's Advanced Real-Time Simulation Lab.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm a third year computer science student, and I work with application development at the Carleton ARS lab.
So the challenge that we are applying for is best 3D game application and best data visualization application. So actually what are we doing for this hackathon is we wanted to use real BIM data and integrate it with a discrete event-based system. In this case, we are using a tool called Cadmium. And then particularly for this Forge hackathon, we wanted to add a third layer that is game interaction. So a user will have a learning experience to understand how COVID spreads indoor. So what are we actually hacking, right? To really understand a COVID spread inside the buildings, 3 parameters are very important. That is viral parameters, the occupancy, and the spatial models. For example, in the viral parameters, right? A person sheds 33 viral particles per minute, and then if he inhales around 1,000 particles, then he's at the high risk of infection. So spatial models, for example, HVAC kind of decides the flow or the spread direction of the virus. So that is important to know, as well as occupants if they're sitting closer, far, age, other health conditions if they're vulnerable. So from my end, we have a basic model for this, which we have been approaching in AEC Hackathon version 2. And for the Forge Hackathon, like I mentioned, we wanted to make it fun, and we also wanted to have fun. So we decided to do a game to this. So for you all, or for everyone who's watching to understand a little bit about our COVID model. So you have a person who is infected with virus. He's shedding 33 particles per minute. Then the viral particles are spreading, and the person who is not infected, if he inhales, right? It could be in 10 breaths or it could be 20 breaths, and it depends upon how many breaths he's taking. And if he inhales around 1,000 particles, then he's either infected or he's at the high risk. So just because they inhale 1,000 particles precisely doesn't mean they are infected with COVID. So this is a base model, scientific model, which we developed. And for this hackathon, we have 2 types of models that we implemented or we are using in our building models. One is uniform airflow distribution, that is if air is spreading all over the place. And the second one is if you have the vents on, then it pushes the viral particles in a particular direction. So this one, you can actually see it in our model. So far, we have been using Forge for quite some time, and the Forge team is familiar with our group as well. So for the last 3 weeks, we had been working on this COVID integration with Forge. And we faced a couple of issues. One is we could only run the model for a small data because we had issues in extracting huge BIM model. And so we wanted to solve that, and we got that solved for this hackathon. We did that over the weekend because we wanted to focus more on the visualization. And second is the simulation tools produces large data sets, and they are greater than 500 MB. And so for this hackathon, for the previous hackathon or whatever we did, we couldn't import the data. So we cut short our simulation time, which produces data around like 300 MB. So that is all we could do. So that was the second challenge we faced. And the third one is, if you see, even in the data that we are reserving from the devs model, it had 3 types of data in one cell, like human, and then it's changed with empty air cells, and then viral particles. And then we had to shift between human icon to a particle icon to an air cell space. And we faced some issues with visualization. We couldn't like integrate sprites, which we are a big fan of for this visualization. And we wanted to approach that in the Forge Hackathon, and we have all this implemented. So we're going to take you to our game interface. Like Omar and Ryan are going to introduce to our game installation more in a conversation aspect. So we do have a video, but in case if the streaming doesn't work. So I'll leave that to Omar.
All right, time for the fun part. First of all, we have 4 buttons at the bottom right. We have restart game, we have mask on game mode, mask off game mode, and a color legend which will show us the viral aerosol concentration that we see on the floor. Now, Ryan, could you explain how this ties into the mask on versus mask off game mode?
Yeah, so what you're seeing in the color scaling and the legend, the yellow colors represent low concentrations of viral particles in an airspace, and the more red color represents a higher concentration and more dangerous concentration. The mask on game mode definitely reduces the concentration in a given infected person's cell space, as opposed to having a mask off. The concentration would be much higher.
All right, so does anybody have any preferences? Mask on, mask off? What do you guys think?
Can we try both?
Takes a bit of time to run, but we can do both.
No, it's okay. Yeah, let's start with that one.
Right, it's hard to choose here without getting into politics.
Yeah.
You want a red state or a blue state?
Let's do mask off for consistency.
Red state.
Red state. So we have in our game panel, we have our health and we have our countdown. So we got 5 minutes to complete 3 tasks. The first task being fix event. Second one, let's go attend a conference. And then third one, go to class. And right here, you can see our mini map showing our current location. So let's get started. I'm gonna look for the room with the vent that I need to fix. And you can see here, there's a bit of aerosol. So I'm just gonna pass through and you can see my health bar diminish a little bit. Now I'm at the vent, I'm gonna click it, task complete. We can move on to the next one. But I see that the door is kind of dangerous to pass through. So I'm gonna pick a different exit so I don't lose any more health.
Run.
And let's try and find the other conference room. Okay, so I have to pass by and I'm gonna look inside and I'm gonna see that this is our meeting room and my manager's blocking the door for some reason. So I'm gonna walk through and I'm gonna go to my desk or my chair and have a seat. And then I'm gonna go attend class afterwards.
But Omar, you're not social distancing.
I'll risk it for school. It's okay. All right, so look for our class this way. And then there's my professor, but maybe I'll try and avoid more air particles. So I'll try and sign in.
Is that Elon Musk?
Around here. And then that's it. We've completed our tasks and we've survived. We had 3 minutes and 32 seconds remaining and about 72% health. So,
Michael, you had a question?
No, he's just commenting on stuff.
Okay. And so the point of the game is to kind of learn through trial and error how to lose less health points. So you can see that we only lost 72.7%, which is okay. But for next time, you might think, okay, I'll skip this room at the start so I don't get exposed, and maybe go the other direction, go to class first, then go to the conference, and then fix the vent by sneaking in through this way, so I don't have to be exposed. And then there's collision detection that we figured out, so we don't go right through the walls. We can also go backwards without going through the walls as well.
I think you have a good reason to cut class.
So actually, this is our lab building in Carleton campus. So these are like a general tasks that we do.
Wow.
But the only thing in this model is the rooms had like a uniform airflow distribution. So like the spread of viral particles was not higher. So we need to work more on that. So this is like the first time we are integrating for a large model as this. So we were approaching 3 different tasks for this hackathon. So it's like a lot of up and down. So we just freezed on this data to give an overview of how it happens. So this is with mask off, right?
Yeah.
Can you show the top view for them to see how the data is?
Oh, here's where my camera skills come into play. If they work. Okay. So go full screen again.
Yeah, I have images too. We have run the full simulation images.
Oh, Ryan, do you want to explain why the viral aerosol is spreading?
I can give a little explanation. So as you can see, there's several infected people in different rooms where your tasks are located, and they're each shedding a different amount of particles, depending on what masks they're wearing too. Some are more efficient than others. The vents in the hallways are pushing air in the hallways, and they're also influencing the spread of the particles. So depending on where you are located in the scene, you might be more susceptible and exposed to larger loads of viral particles.
So do you also want to see the mask on, or do you want to see the images?
I think because of time, we can try to do the images. Okay. I love the demo, but yeah, we might actually
so
get.
I did, yeah. So you can see this is mask off. You can see how the concentration is high and it spreads a little bit more faster. And this is with mask on. Then you can see the aerosol concentration becomes very less. There is still some viral particles spreading, but it is not as high as without the mask. So this is just for comparison. We put side by side so you can see the depth of it on either way. And we also explored different data visualization representation, like diverging colors as well as sequential. Maybe in the future, we'll build a button where people can choose what they want. But we stuck to this because this was taking more time to choose the colors. So what's the overall problem solved is a tool like this can also help facility management to understand the viral spread. Right, and also from a gaming perspective, they also learn if they are in a room with an infected person, at what rate they get infected. And also if we integrate this with IoT, it can help in contact and spatial tracing. So, okay, Mitali?
Yeah, so here are the things we achieved during this 5 days of Forge Hackathon. So first we matched the camera coordinate with our simulation data coordinates of the COVID particles. And also we implemented the health percentage, the timer and the taskbar on the control panel as Omar has shown you. Also, we have read various kind of data when required by the USB CSV split stream. So it means that we had a large CSV data. So when we load on the browser earlier using the D3, the browser was getting crashed. So we have, now we had used CSV split stream. So it splits the data into small CSVs and read the data as we need. And also we had the color legend, minimap, and the game overview on the control panel. And also we have set that on the full screen mode on the Forge viewer. Also we have set the default position for the field of view when the game starts. And as you have seen that we have detected the selected task on the control panel, and also we have achieved the visualization of the heat map. Thank you.
Thank you. If you have any questions for us.
Awesome. I'm pretty sure they do.
Oh, that was great. I'm curious how you guys were finding how you were decreasing your health. Were you using collisions within the Forge ecosystem, or just distances and an amount of time being within a certain distance from an infected person? Or
Ryan or Omar?
Yeah, I can explain. So pretty much how we determined if they were in a danger zone is we matched the camera coordinates to the simulation data coordinates, and if there was a certain amount of particles in that space, then we decremented or diminished their health bar depending on the concentration in that space as a percentage.
Got it. This is awesome. Thank you.
It was it's super fun. It sounds like you guys had fun doing it, even though it is sort of anxiety inducing at the same time. I'm curious about you kind of framed it as somebody can play it and learn about social distancing and learn about mask on, mask off. I'm as someone with an architecture degree, I'm thinking of it from like a design point of view. Is could I play this game and decide that, oh, I need to design my spaces better so that I reduce the risk? So like sort of real time, I play the game, I make modifications in the Revit file, I play the game again, and I see whether it's easier or harder. Is that something that could be done?
It can definitely be done, because we have a set of other group of students. We are already working on the spatial distancing, even the window placement, vent rates, and everything. So we can change the design parameters and see how it reduces the infection inside the building. So yes, but it's a lot of connection between the COVID models to the front interface, but it's on the way. We will get there. So we are already working on that. That was Chris, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a quick question about your movement around the building. So you mentioned colliders, and I didn't know, I might have missed something, but did you actually apply colliders to all the geometry so that you can't pass through walls and things like that?
No, so what we actually did is we just did some ray tracing and checked the distance between the camera position and the geometry. I was thinking of that as a solution using like boundary boxes for all the geometry, but I think it would have been too cost intensive. So I went with a simple solution such as ray tracing.
Great, yeah, it worked really well, thanks.
Any other questions? So.
Jim is very quiet. I don't know why.
No, and I'm sitting here going, did we meet at one of our prior accelerators? I vaguely recall something. And maybe it kind of points out sometimes when you have an idea, it's, it takes a few shots at it and then you get really good at the technology, which is clearly the case here.
Yeah, very impressive work. I think it's highly educational, and that it's based on simulation, so it's not sort of fantasy data. I think that in itself is super value. It's educational. On the technical side, you guys achieved a lot, and seeing you tick the boxes off on each of them, even the CSV file, great work, really nice.
Yeah, and you make it look easy. It is easy, which we all know. Making things easy is not easy.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm like blown away. So really good job.
Thank you.
Very happy with this. So good job to everybody.
So Adam, are we going to do a VR version of this? This is like totally waiting for Rick. I mean, I'm ready to play. I mean, I'm running away from the code. That's awesome.
All right. Any other questions? If not, we can give them a round of applause. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job, guys. All right, so let me send you back. And next up, we have the team Honeywell. Change role. So, Michael, are you around there? I see you. Change role. Change role. Change role. All right. Michael, can you hear us? You're going to mute now.
There we go. You can hear me now.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, tough following the COVID scare there. Go Canada, go, just have to say. Let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Go for it.
All right, so this, hopefully you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Let's see.
Yeah, a bunch of crappy corporate data. All right, so a little bit of an introduction. My name's Mike Ponte. And my team is Honeywell BC35, which is just my location in Vancouver. And I guess I'm entering into the data visualization challenge. So I work in a group called Honeywell Process Solutions, and it's mostly concerned with manufacturing and process industries. Personally, I develop software for use in process plants, but I also get involved with things like automating workflows internally, which is kind of the stuff we're going to see here. So the software I'm demoing is going to address some of the challenges we face. We have a couple factories, one in Vancouver, one in Tianjin, and we have factory and supply chain people on site and remote engineering people located in a few different places around the world. And we have customer facing people scattered globally. And of course, with the pandemic, that's all a mess now. So for us, because we are basically an engineer and manufacturer to order business, all of our users, from engineering down to the service technicians, they're all interested in the ERP data. And the ERP data is what runs our factories. So the problem that we have is that the ERP software running the factories is pretty antiquated, and it's not usable in remote situations. It's also not capable of displaying any documentation about parts. And so to start addressing this, or I've started working on this app here that you can see on the screen. A little bit of background on this: it's running locally on my machine, but it's actually accessing live data from a data center in Vancouver. So data's live. The application itself actually isn't. And everything is in React and TypeScript, and backend is all ASP.NET Core with Oracle and SQL. So this is basically just like any other data app that you would expect to see. You can browse around for parts, whatever. You can search for parts if you want. And once you find a part, you can actually open up the part. Now I've pre-opened the part just for the purposes of the demo, but the important thing for us is that we have some inventor files, and one of the files has already been translated. So I'm just going to go ahead and open it up. It's going to call it up in the Forge viewer. So this is an assembly of one of our sheet scanner heads. It's hard to tell from here, but this is probably, I don't know, about 5 feet long by a couple feet high, kind of size. It's fairly complicated. If I go ahead and explode it out, you can see that there's a fair number of parts that go into it. And you can imagine that somebody who is a service person who might be on site, or maybe a manufacturing assembler person, might be looking at some pieces and kind of wondering what the heck is going on here? What is this for? What is it? What am I going to do with it? So one of the things I wanted to do was to be able to go ahead and, kind of select items. And what this has done is it's figured out that the part number for that individual part is this guy here. And it's gone out and made a REST call to our ERP system and pulled back this information. And this isn't final, but this is just some of the stuff that I decided I wanted to pull back today, so you can tell whether it's purchased or not, or how many are on hand. And I hope we don't need to build it soon because we have nothing. Anyways, and if you kind of, I don't know, pick other random parts, it will, update the panel, to show the updated information. So that's one new capability for us. I'm gonna bring this back down. One of the other things that we like to know about is what the actual manufacturing build is. So for this entire part, this is the bill of materials for that part. And for users, I don't know, for some reason they love exporting to Excel, so they have the option to export files to Excel. What I wasn't able to get done this morning was being able to, say, pick on individual items in the BOM list and have it isolate in the model. But I don't know, maybe tomorrow, we'll see. What else can I show you? I haven't set it up yet, but this is basically going to be able to show all the documentation for any given part. So you could think of this as being stuff like assembly instructions for the manufacturing people, shipping restrictions for shipping people, and maybe even installation for the service techs that are actually at the customer site. So I haven't figured out how to do all the back end stuff for that, or even how to gather the data. So it's just kind of an empty box. The last thing I just kind of wanted to show was the parents for this item. So for this item, we can go back into the ERP system, find all the assemblies that call up this piece, and be able to display it in this list. And as you would expect, since I wasn't able to isolate parts, I also wasn't able to navigate from this view of this assembly to the Forge view of this assembly. So yeah, I really tried to collapse this into like 4 minutes. So that's pretty much it for my demo. I think the thing forward for this, I highlighted a couple of parts where we need to move towards. The other thing that we really need to move towards is being able to fill out this data. And for that, one of the things I'm looking at is we obviously have a change process for all of our parts, and being able to hook into that change process and to automatically drive the model translations so that it's available before people need it will be probably a pretty key thing for me. Anyways, that's it for me. Any questions?
Is this a control system for like a pulp mill or paper manufacturing?
Well, this particular piece is, so hold on. If we go ahead and move this around, which it's kind of hard to see, but sheets of paper actually run through this gap here. And depending on what the customer orders, what's in this box is actually, could be nuclear sensors, it can be optical, it can be, I can't remember what the other one is. It's we have a few different types of sensors that measure different things. They all get fed back into a distributed control system, which then feeds that data back to machines farther upstream, which then adjust their parameters to affect the quality of what's going through.
And how'd you map the part numbers back to the kind of parts and assemblies? I mean, are the part number, is that in the title blocks or something, or how do you map that?
Kind of. I mean, this is all in Inventor assemblies right now. So, it has the properties. So if you pick on something in the Forge model, it kind of drives upwards to find the appropriate model property. From there, it then jumps out to the REST API to pull back data.
Cool.
This is awesome. I really, really like this project. How long is this kind of integrating Forge into something, as I assume that you had already been working on, or was this all done over the hackathon?
Well, the kind of the data stuff that you saw on the first few screens, that was mostly done beforehand. Pulling the viewer and the APIs together was new.
Got it. Yeah, this is awesome. I mean, it clearly has a really strong business case to be able to bring this 3D environment to what's typically these 2D data sets. Really, really cleanly done as well.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
What's next? So I guess you brought up a few things that you wanted to build out next, but I guess I'm curious if those, you mentioned just a couple of things tying back to those panels, but after that, I guess where do you see this possibly going?
Well, there are a couple situations, and I mean, this has been percolating in my head for, I don't know, for a while now, but one of the things that we always struggle with is like spare parts. So you can imagine that you're in the field and let's say this random piece, whatever it is, it breaks. We need to buy it, but of course, we don't necessarily stock that piece as a spare part in any of our spare part depots. So what's the parent assembly in here that would be, what we would sell to the customer? So there's that kind of stuff. Being able to tie these 3D models into all of our installation documentation for our service techs, for them to be able to be able to just call it up on an iPad when they're on site, or on the laptop or whatever, and be able to get their information right there. I feel like there's a lot of possibilities. On a kind of a vanity level, I would like to start integrating, say, VR or AR on it. I'm just not sure that I have any unique ideas, and I think it would be more just using what people have already built.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm sure the other Michael can chime in on stuff like that as well.
Yeah, a side note tidbit when you get the time. I think Michael or Peter Braz have another version of Explode that allows you to explode first top level assemblies, then sub assemblies, then sub assemblies.
Oh wow!
Versus what you're doing here, where it's kind of all parts exploding at the same time.
Michael B., you're holding back.
I know, right? There's just always that one little thing. Actually, quick question, Michael. Just a quick question. There is a question in the panel of how many parts are actually in the assembly on the screen here.
It's a bunch.
Oh, to be honest, I haven't got a clue. Some of our thousands. That's just a rough guess, and to be honest, this is the most complex part of the machine, but the machine is actually probably about 12 or 15 times bigger than this. Sometimes even bigger than that. I don't know if anybody's ever seen paper mills, but this head will run back and forth across the sheet of paper as it's running through the mill. Those sheets of paper can be 30 plus feet wide, as far as I know, and so all this machinery just gets really big, and it can end up running really fast to kind of keep up to the manufacturing process.
One other quick note on the explosion. If you click on the model browser really quick.
Yep.
And so the grouping here kind of determines the center of mass, and we can use the center of mass to determine how to explode in groups, and then subgroups, and then subgroups. So that's how we do the fancy one, the fancy explode,
Okay.
using this assembly tree.
Okay, interesting.
Sure, you guys will talk quite a lot about that.
Never would have thought of that. Thanks.
All right. Well, Michael, thank you very much for this. This is pretty cool. I'm gonna move forward to the next group because other than that, we're gonna start getting a little bit late with this. So, but amazing job, and please help me out to give a round of applause. Good job, man.
Thank you.
All right, let me send you back. All right, so for the next one, we have DP Crew, and I believe I have to bring in Janek and also Tare. Where are you? I see you. I think I did bring the right one. Yeah, I think so. Janek, Tare, are you guys there?
Yeah, hello.
Awesome. Hey, guys.
Hey, thanks. Guess we're ready to go. Let me just put up the share right here. Share the screen. Share that. You should be able to see whatever. Hopefully, so this is coming up okay, the deck?
Yes.
You probably see the viewer. There we go. Okay. Let me see if I can, real quick, wrap it fully start. Share video. Oh, perfect. There we go. Great. Here we go. So I'm going to start it right now. Hopefully nothing gets weird. Perfect. It didn't get weird. All right. Here we go. So we are presenting Forge TV for Total Vision. This is the Digital Practice Cruise project for Forge Hackathon. I am Tade Akopian, design technologist.
I'm Yannick. I'm also a design technologist at HMC. So we wanted to address the kind of the data visualization challenge, and the intent really is to bring the access and usage information into our other sources of information that we have within our company, and use those together to form a kind of a new dashboard of unitized data and information. Now, I can't speak to Toddy, but I'm so fresh to Forge that this was just a deep learning experience. So it's been humbling, but we have kind of, I think, wrapped our heads around how some of the information works and how we can go further, but we wanted to bring in kind of deeper usage information and access information, as opposed to merely who's attached and having to go into project by project in terms of BIM 360, that is, to see how teams are using their access and how license usage is happening, and to be able to see kind of which companies are working on which projects, who's an admin, and kind of so on and so forth.
And to do that, we used several APIs. This is the recommendations we got was, since HMC architects, we are pretty much a BIM 360 shop. This is every Revit project we have is on 360. We're like, well, that's where our information is. So how do we get all that information, project users and teams and everything out of 360? So we use the data management API, the authentication API, and the 360 API. Those are our main APIs. And this is a great start to, first of all, visualize the teams, but also create a pipeline to build into our own data pipelines for a data warehouse or project we're working on. So this is a good start for initializing the APIs. And on the back end, it was just Node.js and things like Socket and Chart.js and everything in there. So that's what we had built this with. And here's the data mapping that Forge would play a part in that we're trying to develop.
So basically at HMC right now, we kind of have data analytics happening using other platforms, and we're bringing in not just Revit analytics, but also kind of accounting and project management analytics, as well as our training and kind of user analysis, and there's also kind of content and other analytics happening in there. And we can see Forge kind of playing a role in our Revit analytics kind of swim lane, so to speak. So if we kind of move into the future, we'll be probably onboarding Forge and the statistics that it brings to bear into our kind of project analytics phase of project setup and launch. So the hope is to integrate these different kind of data flows and make a web app in a singular kind of setup.
And just to get a sense of the progress, pretty much Monday we got this team together, me and Yannick. We came up with the idea of this data visualization app, something low-hanging fruit that we already kind of could draw from our existing resources. On Tuesday, we started launching the app. By Wednesday, we tested it out, made some improvements, got some feedback from the Forge team, and by Thursday, yesterday was looking pretty good, and we got a lot of help from you guys, so we appreciate that. And today here we are with the tool, but we're not going to stop there with this app. This is like a Halloween and Christmas and July 4th all at once. We get all these nice treats from using this app, so we're going to keep developing it in the future. So let me finally show you the app here. It is this dashboard. It basically takes every one of HMC's projects we have on BIM 360 R Hub and gives you a global view of all the people and teams that we could possibly see. That way we can provide an easy to view, easy to see data visualization for people who just want to know who's in a project. Who's in a given project, because this has been an issue we've been trying to figure out with BIM 360, because there's so many different projects we have. We don't know who's in them. They exist. We know there's a database there, but we don't know exactly who's in the project. So this is a nice dashboard view. Currently, it's doing a little bit of loading, but if I were to go into any of these, it would break down into each individual team, like users by company, who has admin, like that, refreshes. So for example, this project, KOMC campus, it's all just HMC people. And well, we have a few others, but it's just not loading right now. The specific list, it's still a little bit of a kink, but this is going to be useful for us to report to the rest of the company, PMs, PAs, architects, any users, saying this is who's on your team, this is who's working on the team, here's what they're doing, and then we have an at-a-glance view of the overall projects and specific projects, and it's easier for us to grab this information. So that's the visualization as it is. This is a great resource for us. We think this is a great solution to this problem of how do we dive into the BIM 360 data, because that's what we have right now. So we go to the BIM 360 site and we have like 269 projects, and we're like, if we had to know who was on a given team, we'd have to either go person by person or team by team in each group. But this just distills into one page where we can access everything. So it's a great solution to a problem we have. It's just a great time saver. This is just the beginning point. We want to enhance it, have more integrations, show more user-specific data, be able to go to the user, find out which projects the users are on, and be able to really, just learn everything we can about the project teams and users just from going to a site like this, and make it an easy-to-read visual with bar charts, with admin explanations, just simple, nothing technical. And also be able, like Yannick mentioned earlier, to create a pipeline of information so we could take this kind of data and put into something that can connect with our timesheet information and other databases, so we know who's working on what and how much. That's our ultimate goal down the road. So the benefits were it's easy to navigate, it's data at a glance, we can see who's accessing the projects. We don't have to use BIM 360 itself, we just have to get the information with Forge APIs into this site. And it's expandable. We can always add more content to the site, so we don't have to have multiple sites or multiple features or multiple tools. This is the one app we provisioned, so it's easy to keep just developing it over time. So here's the next steps.
So basically, you can see that we're at the baby step of just getting a web app started. And really, of course, we have to host it properly and add more information to project selection. So the hope is that we can get into, I know right now there's a bit of a private beta for kind of usage statistics in terms of the BIM 360 API. And we're hoping that eventually it becomes kind of public and we can use more of that info to kind of monitor and check kind of usage statistics. And of course, developed connections between our in-house data and the Autodesk ID and project ID, which I think are continuous and similar, if not the same. So there's a way there for us to route data together. And if you look at a roadmap, you can see that kind of lines up with what I've just mentioned here. We're just at the beginning stages, of course, getting into just hosting really. And then, you know, as more project information can be built into our web app, we can kind of narrow down the data and build a relevant kind of prototype out of information we have already and more information that we can kind of harvest from BIM 360 using, you know, Forge and a couple of other data sources. And then of course, testing the prototypes with people at our company, getting their feedback, and of course, feedback from people like you who are kind of masters of the craft, so to speak, and learn how to make these things better and then launch them, you know, and hopefully make that part of our business development in the future, using these things to kind of offer as a service long-term.
Yeah, what's cool about this project is it's universal. It doesn't have to be used by any specialists or anything like that. The entire company, we have about 250, 300 people at HMC, and anybody could access this and just get something out of it. The PM who just wants to know who's working on the project, the BIM manager who wants to see if, you know, users are accessing it. So we have this nice universal kind of technology that, you know, it's already built from the stuff we've already done on 360. We don't have to like add anything new to it. We're just connecting. So it's really exciting for us to have been able to not only prototype this, but actually launch it this week. So we definitely do see a long-term life cycle to this and a solution to our business problems at HMC. And we put the documentation in the deck. I won't exhaustively go through it here. I just wanted to document it. So I guess me and Yannick wouldn't forget, but also in case anybody else wants to check out the information. Thank you to the Forge team. You guys were really helpful this week for us to kind of guide us through this, especially Jiao Dong. He's the unofficial third person to our team. He provided a lot of samples and solutions we're looking for. So real big shout out to all of you. And thanks so much. This was a fun hackathon. It's my first Forge hackathon. I look forward to expanding upon what I've seen here while working myself with Yannick, with our company, and going from there.
Yeah, deeply humbling. Thank you so much. Again, like Tade said, you guys have been an enormous help.
Awesome. Yeah, good job, guys. I recognize your names from, I guess, the boot camp and all that. So definitely, it's pretty cool to see how far have you guys come so far. So good job. All right. Do we have any question for Tara or Yannick?
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, I can think of a few hundred BIM 360 customers with in excess of 1,000 seats who kind of all have this same need.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, definitely.
Yeah, so Mikako here. So first, thank you very much for nice apps. And then I'm excited. Personally, I'm happy to see finally some BIM 360 API applications. Yeah. So my question is, do you have anything like missing API blocking you, what you wanted to do?
Blocking us, or
not necessarily blocking us, but I think long term we're hungry for more usage statistics.
Usage, okay.
Yeah, like when not beyond just the last sign in terms more of, I would almost say when information is being kind of transmitted to and from would be interesting, as well as when that information might be going out of BIM 360 to consultants would be interesting as well. Okay. There's really, I think, kind of the crux of it would be usage and beyond this time-stamped access.
Did you so did you look at this activity log?
No, definitely not.
So there is some information there, and we don't have an API there as of today, but we are hoping to release. Maybe when you get a chance, look at that, and if you see if, first, if that one helps, and another thing is if the information you think it will be useful is not there, we'd like to know. So, because there are many times we are not aware what is important or what is useful. right? So yeah, I would be very much interested in what kind of additional information you would be interested in seeing within BIM 360.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
I mean, I got this, me and Yannick were like, you know, this is the kind of question our manager was asking us, like, how can we find out who's on which project?
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, yeah, how would you do that? Because it's there, it's 360 has it all, but we're like, how do you actually grab that all? So that was the premise of this. That was like a week or two ago, our manager asked us about this. We're like, you know what, let's just make this the project. And it was, you know, this is where we want to go with this, kind of do a deeper dive. So I think as we develop this, as the roadmap shows, and, you know, add more of these kind of, crossover, and, you know, really study the data and who's on which project, get a more specific user profile, we're going to find out like what is potentially blocking us, or if we can make something simpler, or we need more data, because this is going to be like a great, you know, dashboard for everybody in the company to reference, so we don't have to go one by one through the projects anymore. That's the plan, is to really expand upon it. And it was just a business question of how do we manage these people. So we definitely see this growing, and, you know, this is like such an easy, or I should say low-hanging fruit win for us once we got the hang of it. So we do see a lot of potential here. And you're right, like you mentioned before, like a lot of companies probably would just love to have something like this where it's just dashboard everything and just easy to go. So I think this is a great example that we got from repos and learned ourselves. So we definitely see a growth here. We're going to keep learning the Forge systems and services to keep growing it, including having the Forge viewer to help us, you know, get the statistics of the usage per model, and, you know, see the 3D progress in the model. So we have a lot of room to grow here.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're absolute novices. So this is just deeply humbling.
We've been doing this for years, right, Yannick?
Hey, quick question, sort of following up from Makako. In BIM 360, there's sort of an activity log. Is that, you mentioned some additional information you'd like to see, which is sort of communication, you know, to and from the users. Does the activity log have that information you're looking for, or not yet?
I don't think they know. They need to look into it, because I think Mikako just mentioned it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they haven't looked at it, so maybe they can take a look and see if you can get some information.
Yeah, some sort of thing like CloudWatch or CloudTrail or something like that, in order to just kind of keep a record of what's going on. That would be nice.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that, definitely.
We're definitely going to follow up with you guys on a regular basis about this, because we think we can definitely grow this into a much more robust interface, and just grow it from here. I think it's a great starting point we have here. And then we're definitely going to check out the latest releases, because everybody wants to know who's working on these projects, and you have 200 something projects and it's all 360. 360 is our company. If we didn't have 360, we'd have nothing. So it's a valuable resource to draw information from at this point.
Cool. That sounds like a good quote too.
Quick question, Jaime. So would it be possible to track user hours per project?
That sounds nice.
Well, that'd be cool. We'd like to figure out the hourly stuff, and it's kind of hard to come by, to be honest. Yeah.
Time tracking.
Yeah, probably on the timestamp there is some information in order to do that, or just with the analytics that might get exposed at some point through the API. I think might be a way to get access to that.
Yeah, because sometimes, you know, architects pay per hour, you know, if they have third parties. So that would be important for management approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is like the beauty of this. It's all there on Amazon Web Services, where everything lives, right? So we don't have to like invent much more. Just there, we just have to find ways to extract it. We don't have to like put another connection. It's just all 360 at the end of the day. So that's what we're so excited to see, the possibilities there. You can, as long as it's available on the web services from Forge, it's doable. We don't have to add anything else to it. Just grab from what we already have. So.
Yeah, I would just reiterate, coming from an architecture firm, that you guys hit a very solid business case on this application. Absolutely, good work.
Thank you.
That's good news. Hearing it from you makes it even better.
All right, guys. So awesome. Good job. Any other last question from the judges? If not, we're going to move to the next group. We're good. Awesome. All right. Well, good job, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Let me send you back.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we have digital twinners. I think so. Who's presenting from? All right. I see you guys. 1 second. Hey guys, do I need a third person? Yeah, I see him.
Are you here, Abby?
All right. Okay, I see you guys. I know it's quite late for you, so thanks for joining us.
No, we shift hours completely during this week.
I know. Where are you guys based? I remember it was. Where is it? Denmark?
Denmark.
Yeah. I think you might have to change the audio settings in your Zoom because I think the audio it's not coming from your headset. It's coming from the computer.
Oh, I see. Can you guys hear me?
No, I can hear you, Alvin. It's to Abhishek that I'm asking him.
I see.
No, it's breaking up a bit.
Wait 1 second.
Yeah.
Better now?
Yeah, we hear you a little bit more. Yes.
Yeah, much better.
All right. Okay, how do I share my screen?
There's a green button at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. So you guys see my screen, right?
Yes, we see a black desktop, and I think
Yeah,
a video.
Yeah, that's a video we will run, and then we have some demonstration.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome to the demonstration of our application, the Building Diagnostic by Team Digital Twinners for the category Best Data Visualization Application at Autodesk Forge Hackathon 2020. We are Team Digital Twinners. I'm Abhishek. I'm a MSc student in BIM at Aalborg University, Denmark. Alvin, who is a graduate computer programming engineer from California Polytechnic, and Piotr, who is also a MSc student in BIM at Aalborg University, Denmark. So the motivation for the application is the problem, the need to visualize building sensor data with the end goal of maintaining occupant comfort in buildings and increasing energy efficiency to generate value. So while talking to one of the building energy consultants in Denmark, he told us that he receives a lot of sensor data depicting the temperature, the humidity, the occupancy in the form of CSV files captured by the sensors. But the problem arises to communicate this data, to visualize this data, and then detect the issues to the facility manager, to the building owner, to the HVAC consultant, and the building end user. So while communicating the data as graphs or pie charts, there's a lot of confusion because the data is not contextualized and it does not relate to itself. So the facility manager wants to know where in the building is this, how is it relating? The HVAC consultant wants to know when and by how much. So these are the questions that we want to resolve through our visualization application. So our solution is based on contextualize, relate, and visualize. So this is our interface of the Building Diagnoser application. We built it on top of Forge Service APIs. So we have a Revit model of a floor in a building with different working spaces. And they have sensors capturing the humidity, the CO2, and the temperature, which is being stored as CSV files and sent to the energy consultant for analysis. But to communicate this data to different stakeholders, we need a visualization. So we built extensions, temperature extension, the CO2, and the humidity. So this app contextualizes the BIM model with the sensor data and relates it to the different spaces of the building. So on clicking the extension, we can see the change in intensity of the temperature values, and to get a detailed analysis of the exact areas that are affected, we can see which areas have high temperatures in comparison to other rooms in the building. Similarly, we can compare the temperatures to the CO2 values, and we can see the same rooms which had high temperatures also have high CO2 levels or changes in CO2 levels. And also we can check the humidity, and you can see the humidity is high in the two corner areas of the floor. So we can make a diagnosis based on that. Because the occupancy is increasing, the CO2 levels are increasing, and the humidity is increasing. So we know why this is happening. We can detect why this is happening, and where the HVAC systems needs to be more efficient and by how much. Yeah, so the problems that we solved was applications to monitor building conditions in a 3D model on the web without the need of opening a software and to communicate data to different stakeholders who do not have Revit or other BIM applications. For the future, we want to use real-time data because we used CSV data right now, historical data. And future applications, we want to have advanced search features, side-to-side model comparison between different values of sensor data, and developing the UI, because this is a hardcore-oriented, user-oriented application. So each user needs different kind of data from the model, and at the right time and quickly in those meetings. So an actuation to control the building system. So a real-time connection is highly required. And plus, right now I can show that if we click on the rooms, we get all the metadata, all the properties, and the sensor ID with the room space located. So we exactly know which is the room that is heating up or has more humidity or CO2, and we can make quick decisions or after or in the help in decision making process later. So that's pretty much it, and I thank the mentors at Forge Hackathon, and we used the model derivative API, the data management API, and the Forge viewer for making this application. Alvin, do you want to add something?
You're on mute, Alvin.
Okay. So for demo purposes, we make our application simple and easier for user to understand. This website or this application is built from the Forge extension layout, and we are adding more extension into it, mapping the changes to each corresponding room with sensors. Our application also provides users the freedom to customize, showing it is easier to customize for them, making it easier for them to add their own preference. And the higher, as you can see, the higher the concentration of the carbon dioxide particles in the room, the darker the color is. And that's the same for both the temperature extension and the humidity extension. As what Abhishek has said, our next target, our next goal, or our next vision was to achieve a real-time database. And so we are thinking to use like Amazon AWS database services or MongoDB, setting up the routers and the socket connections to do a doable setup for real time. And the viewer background is customizable. We can include the shadows of the model, a preset lighting, and other amazing backgrounds for the viewer. But we have to keep we decided to keep the background simple into white because it's easier to see and read the model. What else? Okay, and the one last thing is that we had a plan on doing like 2 viewers. So since the extension is implemented so that if we have 1 viewers and 2 viewers, like dual viewers, we can see like the color change simultaneously when the extension button is clicked at the same time. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, really good job, guys. I know you guys were jungling a bit the forming of the team at the beginning, but I'm pretty happy of the outcome. So this is pretty cool. Good job. Do we have any questions for the team?
Maybe something to be on the watch for. Next week during AU, there's a Forge Viewer class that includes futures. And they'll be showing off the prototype of, I like to call it an IoT extension. So making it easy to get IoT data from instruments into a time series database and out to the viewer. So we'll be making that pretty kind of easy and straightforward to do, whether from a Microsoft Azure stack or an AWS stack. And maybe one nitpicky thing that, I've seen so many people run into this. I could tell you had a problem with color flashing. And we've run into this lots of times where you have 2 surfaces that sit exactly on top of each other and your card's trying to figure out which color is it. We have a couple of easy solutions for that. Just reach out.
So the thing is with colors, sometimes it's, as you can see, it's only 1 day base data, and the temperature variance is also limited. And of course, like if you take the couple of months data and maybe you can scale down or scale up with timeline, it's going to be probably less vibrant and less drastic if it comes to changes.
Yeah,
but we'll get in touch with this, what you said, Jim.
Jaime, can I quickly share my screen real quick?
Yeah, I think
That's
1 second. Let me go for it.
Yeah, just adding to what Jim was saying. So next week at the Autodesk University Virtual, which is free to join, during the Forge Roadmap session, there is a section on visual insights, which I think is what Jim's talking about. So check out the blog post and look out for the Forge Roadmap section. So that's coming up next week.
Maybe add that link into the chat to all attendees, and that way we can.
Yeah.
There's a Forge Viewer specific roadmap class too. So it's actually both of these classes. You'll get more information on how we're going to make this easier for you.
Yeah.
And then just to throw the team under the bus, because I know they're listening, you can join the Forge team at the live Q&A on Wednesday. So all the details are here. That's at the Forge answer bar.
Yeah, we'll join as well.
Great.
Sounds good. Thank you, Michael. All right. Any other question for the team? No? All right. So help me out with a round of applause. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So let me send you back. Where are you? Okay, so next up, we have the team, the Expandables. And this team actually kind of got formed yesterday, I think. So let's see how did it go. There's a lot of like ping pong effect happening there. Jonathan, are you around? You can unmute. Also bring in Renzo in. Renzo?
Hi, Jaime.
Hey. Is Jonathan around?
Yeah.
I think he's not unmuting. He fell asleep. Come on.
I'm awake. Here I am.
All right. Awesome. How's it going, man?
Hey.
Staying alive.
That's good. That's good. All right. So what do you guys got for us?
All right. Let me share my screen. All right. So we have the BIM Task Manager. This is the concept is to create a portal where you can collaborate between projects and different people and just delegate different tasks based off of whatever job that they have. So the problem here is like you have a BIM team, you have your information, you have your model, you have all the data that comes with it, and then you have all these different teams, managers, and just various others, maybe a contractor. So the problem is that they are disconnected from the BIM data. So we can join everyone together onto one project and just unify everything and kind of track what everyone needs to do. So this is our solution. All tasks are in one place. They're accessible from the web. You can get them from your phone. Tasks are in real time. Tasks with quantifications of materials, messaging system, progress in metrics. We used, obviously, Autodesk Forge, the viewer, and data management API, the model derivative API to load the models. Backend is Node.js, MySQL, and Socket.io, and the front end is React. All right, so now, thank you, muchos gracias. And now I'm going to switch over to the live demo. So I'll just reload.
So I think we're still seeing the slides, just for you to know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just I think you only shared the
new share.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So here let's just say I'm a BIM coordinator, and I'm also Batman. And this is my project. It's located in Lima, Peru. And this is the model that was chosen to be delivered to me. They want me to, so here are my set tasks. They want me to do something, check out structural column formwork, check out structural framing. I could assign another project to myself. So let's say move stairs. Oh, sorry. Move stairs. Stairs are not connected to the building. And then I want to go over here, select the stairs. Maybe say, oh, they're supposed to be over here. Oh, whoopsies. And I'm going to add that. And then you can toggle the different the various stages on and off. We also integrated with the document browser levels. We also integrated with the mini map. So. Let's see. Where did I go? Yeah, and that's pretty much it. The whole main idea is to collaborate between the different people within the project and ensure that they know what needs to be done and track progress of that.
And just for some of the audience people to know, when was this done?
Last night.
So basically, they had some on and off with some other teams. Unfortunately, their team kind of like fell through at the beginning of the week, so they were just didn't know each other until yesterday. Jonathan is based in New Jersey. Renzo is based in Peru, Lima. So yeah, awesome. I'm happy that you guys got to meet each other and then work on this last night.
Yeah, true hackathon spirit right there. Good job,
Exactly.
guys.
Yeah.
It was definitely a challenge, but Renzo did just a ton of the heavy lifting, the designing. He programmed with me. He was really easy to work with.
Good job.
This is awesome. Yeah, great work.
A good team.
Awesome. Do we have any questions for the Expandables team?
My jaw is hanging. One day?
Yeah, one full night, I guess. We went from 2 p.m. to probably like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
How are you guys awake right now? I don't get it.
Wow.
I got like a solid 4. It's fine.
Good. Right. And Renzo,
Yeah.
I know pretty much getting a lot of coffee.
A lot of coffee.
Yeah, you still have it. Awesome.
Well, I'd be more worried about, last week we were all distracted by the presidential election. There's some craziness going on in Peru right now. I don't know how Renzo stays focused.
Yeah.
He's indoors.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good job, guys. Any of the judges want to ask a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Where do you, I guess, next steps, would you imagine kind of like kicking these tasks out to something else, or just this is where you go to receive all of this information, interact with the models, etc. Do you see this integrating with other tools in a different way that you haven't described yet, or is this kind of just your one-stop shop?
Yes, maybe a calendar, a message, mobile app, maybe a metrics for the advance. I don't know. Is a task management like a tasks or other activities?
Yeah. I see even like some chance to do some automation and all that in order to kind of like address those issues and those tasks itself, in order to do something similar to one of the projects that we saw in an earlier session for Europe, to basically just fix the model itself, like this moving of the stairs and all that.
Yeah,
could be something cool to just make it go through.
This task data, isn't it a SQL database, Mongo, Jira? Where are you keeping it?
MySQL.
MySQL. Okay. Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think integration with the BIM 360 API wouldn't be a bad idea too. Just this way you could share data between different team members.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. Do we have any other final questions? No? If not, well, good job, guys.
Thank you.
Try to get some sleep now. All right. So we're going to move to our last presentation of today. So let me send you guys back. Okay, so the last presentation, it's going to be the team PWIO. I see Thomas. Who else should I bring? Hi, Thomas. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Awesome. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you.
Do I have to bring anyone else, or is it going to be you running the show?
There's others. Yep. Sacha should be here.
All right, I see him. Who else?
I'm not sure if Tina or Jan or Amanda.
I see Amanda. And Chan also, okay.
Raise your hand. Raise your hands, guys.
No, I think I got them.
Okay.
How are you, Sacha?
Good. Good to see you, Jaime.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
And team, Michael.
Awesome. All right. Well, excited to hear. Go for it. Take it away. Who's going to be sharing?
You want to drive that video?
Sure. Let me pull it up.
Do you have audio in your video?
No, we're going to talk over it.
All
This
right.
will be a good chance for us to, do a dry run of the overdub.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Do you see our screen?
Not yet.
I should.
I think once you select, you got to hit the there we
share
go.
button. There we go.
Awesome. Take it away.
All right. Yeah, so today we're going to be presenting a project we're calling Asset Track. And this was the team that worked on most of the project. Everyone who's here. I guess I'll pause for a second. That should be a longer screen, just so we can kind of go through everyone. Thomas was our tech lead and essentially full stack developer and has been working on most of the Forge pieces of this throughout the week. Tina is our development manager and worked on the front end pieces. Chan was our full stack developer. Amanda is our UI and UX designer for this project. And myself, I'm just a sponsor slash jack of all trades who just helped out and pitched in here and there. And so just a little bit of backstory for where this project arises from and where it's competing. We are saying that it fits in one of those two challenges. And so earlier this year, we were working with one of our healthcare clients, specifically around some of the problems caused by the pandemic. And it was about helping them plan and track how to adapt the hospital system for the incoming surge of cases. And they were looking for ways to, track specific existing wards, stand up new wards and kind of new spaces, and basically track the system in real time, across multiple hospitals, across an entire region. And so at the time, we stood up this dashboard, which was designed to be the scale-free dashboard, and we were targeting even then using Forge, although at this stage we mostly did Revit extraction from a local plugin. And one of the things that we saw was that, as is not uncommon in a lot of these situations, the client didn't really have a lot of good existing data to bring together, right? And so we had mocked up getting deep into scale to track the exact kind of information that they cared about. Clearly, we didn't time this video very well, so I'm going to give it an extra second here. We gave it time to, we wanted to be able to drive down to the information that they really cared about. But what we found is that none of this model data existed. And of course, even if it had existed, it only would have existed for the existing wards. And so, we could see that there was a clear need to be tracking and updating and potentially planning these new informations and new spaces and tracking information about them in real time. And there was a big gap, right, for that. And so even though our gap could go all the way down to that level, the data didn't exist there. And this was in particular, in this case, and in many cases for a lot of problems in hospital administration, everything from the planning and administration and development of the hospital, but more importantly, tracking the clinical data and the status data and equipment that goes into specialty care in hospitals. This is a pandemic situation, but in all situations. And so one of the things that we saw was that there was a need to stand up that kind of granular information very quickly, right? And think about how could we both generate the initial model and then make it so that it was a one-step easy process for people to update the critical information in the case of pandemic, administrators to walk the wards quickly and track the entire system or the specific wards as fast as possible so that they could be making planning decisions with the best information.
At the time, they were kind of raw gathering that and putting it in an Excel sheet and emailing multiple versions around, and really just didn't have a good workflow for managing that data and communicating with others.
And we had, at that time, positioned a prototype idea for Asset Track, which really starts off as being able to provide that information to the model in a very user-friendly way and also in a non-expert user way, ideally, right? And beginning to leverage things like core machine learning capabilities and augmented reality and LiDAR sensors on machines. And so we now took this opportunity of the hackathon to break off this problem. So this is now where we're going into the work of this week. So this is the UX UI prototype that we're looking at here. This was probably around by Wednesday. We had finalized much of the scope and how exactly we figured it would work, from the QR scanning to bringing up a model, working with our healthcare planners to kind of build out the kind of tracking model of information that needs to be addressed from a medical equipment and room planning space. And this was our opportunity to flesh out the rest of the ecosystem, which is base drawings from Revit brought in via design automation, augmented with the asset information. So I'm going to pause that and go back for a second too. Apologies. And then fed back into the BIM 360 system, potentially down back to the Revit model for further development of rooms, room models, et cetera, but then also, kind of feeding our HealthFormer app, as well as the project management and coordination from BIM 360, which, that's more intended in this case to, the work of setting up new wards, which I think a lot of the companies who have been here, a number of them have been doing this work. And now for the demo. And so this is where we've gotten by today. So scanning a tag, the first step is obviously to create and link the tag to the model. The interface for placing the model. We ended up yesterday aiming for the more generic version where we're placing these elements according to their kind of expected locations in a suite, and then being able to pass this information as kind of raw metadata so that they would just be, kind of generic assets in the space. And that was because we were struggling with some React Native issues around the second implementation that we're targeting here, which was to really be able to place them in a still generic but fast way onto the actual BIM data. And so what we're seeing there is an extract of the hospital system and the interface for placing onto the room. So these are all the patient rooms at one of those facilities. The ability to, get to a room, generate icons and place them. And again, not at the level of, true, inch and code standpoints, but just in the generic representation of what's there and where is it roughly in terms of zones and categories on the floor plan, which is something that more people than just architects and planners will be able to potentially do, which is important in a hospital situation, especially in a high level situation like this.
with, of course, then the trajectory for this going in the direction of really starting to leverage things like LiDAR scanners on the new Apple iPhone hardware to do point cloud classification and placement of real model geometries back into the Revit model. And Thomas, you want to kind of give an update on where we are on the Forge stack?
Yeah, so this week we kind of bit off two really big chunks for us. One was to finally finish the design automation circle. We've been working with Model Derivative and BIM 360 for a while, but hadn't yet finished the design automation pipeline. So that's really what I've been working on. At the same time, we've been bumping up against the realities of React Native. We're a React shop. And so we had hoped for our first project to go maybe a little bit more smoothly, but discovered a lot of the limitations with the platform. And so we're at this point now where we're ready to stitch together these various technologies to kind of complete the app, but not quite there, working right now, but yeah, maybe by Monday. So, but it's been a good experience, and yesterday's help with me in the design automation helped us get through a big hurdle. We had no idea about clearing that data out, but that solved our problem, and we were able to move forward. So happy with that.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys got this pretty quickly done. So this is quite nice. Do we have any questions for the PW team?
Cool.
Oh, nothing from the judge, then maybe I will ask again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are you saving these data, asset data?
Back into the Revit model through design automation.
Oh, in back the Revit model. I see. Okay.
Right now we're just drawing, shape building a sphere and placing it into the model. In the future, that would be driven into specific families and custom properties.
I see. Okay, so it's related to this asset. BIM 360 has asset modules, and they don't have API today. Mm-hmm. But we are planning to have this asset API hopefully early next year. Mm-hmm. Like hopefully January or some times. I can't say the timing though. So we actually made a video of our prototyping, which is in a BIM 360, updates and beyond class, which will be broadcasted it will be an on-demand class next week at AU. You may be interested in that one. And if we can connect this and save the asset data in BIM 360, then Revit itself will be a little lighter. Mm-hmm. Independent data. You can keep the independent data, such as like a status, or you can add a custom attribute. We also use the design automation to extract this model information from Revit. Like room informations and floor level informations. So there is a slight overlap there, and then there is a potential to connect to the bigger framework with the BIM. Mm-hmm. Good, thank you very
absolutely.
much. Very interesting.
That'll be exciting, right? Because I think one of the things that we've always seen is that there's a time and a place for resolution. Right. And so this kind of serves both needs, right, which is to flesh out that base level, which really, again, could be as simple as a Google sheet, but, make it really accessible and wrap it into a user face for, the specific end users that we're looking at, in this case, people who are busy, overworked, obviously in the pandemic situation, at risk themselves, and, needing to update information for planning and administration purposes. And, not that they would ever be the people to open up a Revit model, but in this case, even the opportunity to try and link them through the standard approaches is just it's overkill in a lot of ways, and it's much too tedious, right? But simultaneously fleshing out at least that base level of generic information that would enable the planners and architects who are working in these same hospitals to have much more granular information, potentially eventually point cloud driven information, to allow them
to begin to like actually focus on the planning of better and more functional spaces.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Great. Thank you.
I have a quick question. Really great project. I guess I'm curious about your guys' choice to go with React Native, and why you guys chose that route versus another route.
Simply because the work that we've been doing previously is all based in React. And so I have a background in Unity as well. We could have used to get on the phone, but quick to the phone, no Xcode, working on Expo. Was hoping that was going to be the fast track for a hackathon, a good choice for a hackathon. But what we didn't factor in and didn't discover really till Wednesday was, most of the work that we're trying to do right now that leverages Forge is built in custom 3 environments. And so losing the touch interactivity with the GL view in 3 was a big hit for us on Wednesday. So yeah, in hindsight, there maybe have been other avenues that would have been more fruitful for the week. But long term, as a React shop, we're looking for what are we gonna stand up mobile apps in moving forward. So this was figure out design automation, get a taste of the native environment. It was a good learning experience for the team.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds good. Understandable. Very cool.
Yeah, and commendable. I mean, the UI on the mobile does look amazing. You guys have nailed the UI. Yeah. I had the same question. I had the same question. I sort of noticed you using Fabric.js for the floor plan layout stuff, and I was thinking I was doing something similar in Flutter, and just thinking, oh yeah, I can see that, that being torn between React Native and Flutter and Ionic. It's a tough call.
Yeah, basically we were going 3 different directions, right? And obviously the work we had done last year in the Forge Accelerator, we are blending the GIS world with using WebGIS and web mapping, 3 for more custom 3D-dimensional work. And then more recently, we've been using Fabric as our de facto kind of 2D canvas tool for, again, just across our stack. And so what we found was that there was deficiencies in all 3 of them when it came to React Native and then Expo. And, even Mapbox is really well supported, but not with Expo. So then they're like, ditch the Expo. And then we're like, but we were using Expo to do the first part. So, it was definitely, a valuable learning experience just to, force us to, rethink our approach to both React Native and maybe mobile.
We needed to bump our heads against all of that stuff at some point. So it was a conscious decision at the beginning of the week. We knew we might not be as successful because we could run into these problems, but yeah, it was necessary.
Also, I don't think I even told you last night, Thomas, I figured out that Expo has actually stripped native AR support and ARKit, which would have been, the dream scenario that we had gotten to the point of actually doing at least one level of AR, AR point cloud, absorption, but that wouldn't even have been possible, even though we had already passed on that by last night.
That's what hackathons are for, I guess.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Good work, guys.
Good job.
Thank you.
Jim, I see you muting, so I don't know if you want.
No, I'm glad Michael was really digging in.
All right. Okay. Do we have any final question for the PW team? If not, well, good job, guys. Glad to have you here. So awesome. Good to see you. And I'll send you back.
As well.
Okay. One more. There we go. Okay, so now let me just get back to this. Okay, All right. So yeah, we're a little bit over time, but that was pretty cool. Thank you again to all the teams that participating on this America's edition. So let me move forward. So what's next? So our judges will get a chance to review your projects between today and tomorrow in order to let you guys know sometime around Sunday, in order to let you know if you are a finalist for this AU showcase, where we will ask you to produce a certain video for that demo. So if you hear back from us, we will require this video in order to show you to a really large amount of people for that showcase. I don't know how many thousands actually, but it's gonna be pretty cool. And then also at the same time in the workspace for Slack, we like to hear, tell us about your experience. So you will be getting a survey in the announcements channel. So I will, like I said before, don't worry about it. We got tough skin. So definitely it's something that we would like to hear. How can we make this kind of events better? So yeah, please just help us out with that survey. And then if you have questions and then you're using the platform, and this also goes to the people online that are watching us through YouTube. Stack Overflow, it's what we use in order to help you out with support. So you can tag Autodesk-Forge, and this will get into our system in order to help you out with the use of the platform. And before I move on to the final wrap up, I want to do just like I said before, remember the prizes will be coming each one of you of the winners. So that's something cool to look forward. And then I also want to give a shout out to some of my teammates that help us out during this event. We had a lot of people helping us out, but and it was kind of hard to pick, I guess, 3 from that list. But I want to thank Rahul from the engineering team of Design Automation for Revit, Sanjana from the Forge marketing team, and Peter Bross, who is probably asleep right now because he's based in Czech Republic, but he's also a senior developer advocate under my team. So big round of applause and shout out to them. So thank you guys for all your work and help. And we like to recognize also people that are within the company, and they will be getting a small prize as well. So thank you again, guys. Jim?
Jaime, we do need to get a picture of Peter where, he's a smiling, happy guy. He looks pretty intense in this picture.
Yeah. He was, I don't know if you've ever seen Zoolander, but that actually is what it reminds me of, the blue steel look. I think that's what it was called. But yeah, he liked the picture. I know he did.
He looks like a poet from the 60s.
Yeah. I have another one actually that he looks a little bit more of a thankful man on a profile picture one. All right, so what's next? So next week we have AU 2020. So it is in a virtual mode this year due to the circumstances around the world. I hope everybody's doing safe. So if you haven't signed up, go ahead, sign up. It's free to attend. We're gonna have thousands of hours of content. And at the same time, also a lot of talks in regards to the Forge platform from my team and also from different engineering teams that work directly on the Forge platform itself. So definitely it's something that I would recommend. Look into it, learn more about what other ways can you use the platform. And then last but not least, we run accelerators. And what an accelerator is, it's basically very similar to this hackathon, but with a more like business focus in mind, where you submit a proposal of a project that you want to create. And the next one that we have, it's on December the 7th to the 11th, and it's going to be called the Candy Cane Accelerator. So we're still taking proposals for that one. I think we have a couple spots left. So definitely it's something that if you want to continue any kind of work that you did during this hackathon, definitely sign up. We will gladly have you for another week. I don't think we're gonna have prizes like this hackathon in there, but we'll see. So yeah, definitely come and join us. So before I actually go, yeah, any other comments that you guys want to do?
Yeah, Jaime, just a shout out on the Candy Cane Accelerator. We are also, we'll be taking, what's the word? We'll be favoring, I suppose, if you're doing any kind of work around visualization components, maybe, let's say something along the lines of Dasher 360 that sounds interesting to you, send your proposals in for Candy Cane. We're interested in, we're definitely interested in projects that are around that space.
Kind of like the IoT area and all that stuff.
IoT,
Exactly.
heat maps, time series data.
All right. I think I saw a couple of participants in this event that might actually benefit from something like that. So I'll say keep an eye, guys, and then we look forward to your proposals.
I do have a question. We missed it on the morning session.
Yeah.
Did everybody get their hoodies?
No. So we had some things to be shipped right now are quite challenging. So, but the participants will get their hoodies. Don't worry about it. And they actually have the cool logo that I show at the beginning of the slide. So they're coming. I apologize for that, but I think to kind of like coordinate shipments to all different parts of the world, it's a little bit tough. So I will ask you when you get it, definitely send us a picture, tag us on your social media. Should we create like we can just do a Forge Hackathon 2020 hashtag, and then we will love to see how you guys are rocking those hoodies. All right. So with that, thank you very much again, guys. This was fun. It was a really tough week. I guess a lot of you guys might need some good sleep, and good luck to the judges. They're gonna have some homework to do, and you will be hearing from us as soon as we know the results in order to get you ready for the next phase of the finalists. So thank you. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.
And Jaime, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Good work.
Yeah, thank you, Jaime.
Yeah, thank you, Jaime.
Leading this.
Thank you, guys. All right. So
Well done, Jaime.
thank you. All right. So have a good one. Take care, and I will see you guys in another event. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.